I swear to God, it seems like every time I say I'm going to get a video out by a certain time, it actually ends up taking me 3 times as long. So I apologize for the late upload, but to be honest, stuff happens. I also wanted to apologize for the fact that you might hear some construction work in the background because people are fucking making so much noise. Literally, there's been construction going on by my house for the last few weeks, and it's just been impossible to get anything done, so I apologize for that. But enough of my rambling, let's just get on with this video. 10 things you missed in Black Butler. And if it's not obvious enough, there's definitely going to be some spoilers in this video. If you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you already know the backstory of Ciel Phantom Hive. Even so, I like a quick recap. A few years before the start of the series, on his 10th birthday, the home of Ciel Phantom Hive was attacked and set ablaze by an unknown perpetrator, leaving his parents dead in the process. Ciel was then kidnapped and sold off to a seemingly random buyer, who held him locked in a cage. He was later then branded with the mark of the noble beast before finally being made a sacrificial piece in some sort of cult ritual. For the most part, this story stays true throughout the anime, with only some minor details being moved around. However, something that doesn't add up is the placement of the mark branded on Ciel's body. In the first season of the anime, the mark can be seen printed just below his chest, but in later seasons it is instead shown on his lower back. Weird as it is, it turns out this is a simple error made by the animation team, as the first time we actually see the mark within the manga isn't until the circus arc, which is season 3 of the anime. At the beginning of Black Butler 2, we are introduced to a new demon going by the name of Claude. He is in many ways like Sebastian, but for whatever reason they both seem to show a lot of dislike for the other. As we would soon learn, Claude's true form is actually that of a spider, while Sebastian's true form is that of a raven. Though you may have never realized it, their demon appearances were a foreshadowing to Claude's death later on within the series. Seeing as how crows eat spiders, the outcome of their battle was pretty much inevitable. During the first season of the anime, we are introduced to a detective known as Fred Aberline. He and Ciel joined forces for a while before his untimely death, in which he sacrifices himself to save the young Earl in episode 20. Earlier within the same episode, we learned that Fred lost his family while he was still very young, and as a result he was left to fend for himself without any parents or siblings, eventually leading him to become a cop in the hopes of being able to create a better world for both his wife and soon-to-be child. Fast forward to season 2 and we meet Edward Aberline, who is not only Fred's supposed brother, but his twin brother. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I know this character is only shown in the anime or whatever, but I mean, if you're going to create filler content, you gotta make some sense, please. Although, to be fair, Fred Aberline's death was also filler material in the anime, as he's still very much alive in the manga. Out of all the arcs I've currently seen in this series, I'm going to have to say season 3 was one that really stuck out to me, mainly due to the variety of new characters that came along with it. Ciel, you savage motherfucker. But did you know that the character Peter might actually be based off of Peter Pan? After all, he's a pretty arrogant individual who likes to dress in a lot of green clothing. He also has a partner named Wendy, who along with him is an adult trapped within the body of a child. This, however, has not been officially confirmed by the series' creator, but the resemblances are definitely there. Speaking of resemblances, have you ever stopped and compared just how similar Sebastian's design is to that of Ciel's father? Whether or not you did at first, there's no denying that these two characters do look alike. Jump to chapter 61 of the manga during a flashback showing the moment Sebastian first meets Ciel. After saving him, Sebastian has a moment of inner dialogue where he basically tells himself that in order to serve his new master, he would need to take on the form that is both suitable and appealing to him. Basically what we currently know him as now. This has led to a number of internet theories by fans believing that perhaps Sebastian intentionally took on the form of Ciel's father, and others questioning whether or not he somehow is his father transformed into a demon. After doing some further digging, I've managed to come across a certain quote taken from one of the blogs written by the series creator, stating the following: "Although Vincent and Sebastian's resemblance is intentional, I don't feel like revealing the reason in this volume." So while this seems to be confirmation enough that there is in fact a connection between these two characters, what exactly that connection is has yet to be revealed. One of the more interesting characters in the series would definitely have to be Lao, the Chinese nobleman slash manager of the foreign trade business. Well, a small detail that you may have never noticed is that he can almost always be seen wearing some sort of traditional Chinese clothing. An interesting characteristic considering he is a pretty reoccurring character in the series. So far, we've only seen him dressed out of his usual attire once, when he was a guest at a party hosted by Alistair Chamber. In episode 17, when Ciel and Sebastian travel to the funeral parlor to pay a visit to the Undertaker, there is a moment where he can be seen buried underneath a barrel of salt from the neck down. Oddly enough, enjoying the sensation, whatever that means. However, if you're really observant during the scene, you may have noticed that after seeing this, Sebastian raises a handkerchief up to his nose. This is in fact not a random reaction, as in many supernatural films as well as Christian demonology, it is believed that salt is effective at keeping away demons. The response he gives after performing this action also seems to support this. Some of you may already know this, but Ciel Phantomhive and his fiancée Elizabeth Mitford are actually related. Lizzie is the daughter of Frances Mitford, who is the sister of Vincent Phantomhive, Ciel's father, meaning that the engaged couple are actually first cousins. I'm sure a good number of you are at least a tad bit confused at this point, so let me explain. While it does seem odd in today's society, it wasn't such a strange thing to intermarry back in the early 1800s, though this really only applied to those of higher class, such as nobles and royalty, as they believed introducing someone from outside their own bloodline would somehow contaminate it. So seeing as how the series takes place around this time and the fact that Ciel and Elizabeth are both nobles, this actually makes sense. Not saying you should go ahead and date your cousin because you know that's pretty weird. But as I continue my research, I'm constantly being surprised at just how accurate it relates to real events that occurred throughout history. But I'll just leave it there, as actually going through and explaining each one could be its own separate video. Near the very end of the circus arc, the character Baron Kelvin tells Ciel that he's been waiting to meet him face to face for many years. For a number of messed up reasons really, as he's basically obsessed with him. He even went so far as to replicate the exact same sacrificial ground as of the night Ciel first summoned Sebastian, with the hopes of reenacting some sick fantasy which I don't really get. Although in the anime as well as the manga we can see that it is indeed an exact replica. However, if you take a step back and analyze everything that's going on, this is simply not possible. The fact of the matter is that the Baron was never there to see Ciel's sacrifice take place, as he was stuck in bed for many weeks after undergoing the surgery. Not only that, but the entire building was incinerated by Sebastian alongside everyone who attended, making Ciel and Sebastian the only two living individuals potentially capable of successfully replicating this ground. During one scene in episode 12, we see the detective Fred Aberline doing a bit of investigating on Ciel. However, it seems he's pretty terrible at doing his job, because if you look closely on the specific document, you can see the name written not as Ciel Phantomhive, but as Ciel Phantomhive. Phantomhive? What? This one's kind of a stupid one, I know, but I thought it was pretty funny. Like, can you imagine how the series would go if his name was Ciel Phantomhive? I don't think anyone would take him seriously. And there you have it, guys, 10 things you probably missed while watching Black Butler. Hopefully you guys learned something new that maybe you guys didn't pick up on before. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of finding little hidden references inside series, so I'm definitely going to be doing more videos like this in the future. This anime was actually recommended to me by you guys, so your guys' comments do make a difference. So go ahead and let me know what series you'd like to see next. Also, you guys should definitely follow me up on Twitter and my other social medias, that way you guys can keep up to date with what's going on with the channel. Links in the description and at the outro. If you guys made it to the end of this video, go ahead and drop the word Butler down below to let me know. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you could tap that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe for future videos. If you have an idea for a top 10, leave a comment down below. I make top 10s on just about anything. And with that being said, I'll thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.